in terms of the Rochdale result, you mentioned the NWO. Yeah, Rochdale were taking over.
Wow.
Bro, Leeds went to Rochdale, and Rochdale were like, we're taking over.
Wow.
Bro, they took over. That's all like, oh my word. But you know what, yeah.
Wow.
Leeds must have been.
Mr. Bailey's funny in the chat. So.
All I can say is I was thinking this.
Wow.
When Hogan scored. And for Leeds, it was this. When it comes crashing down and it hurts inside. Leeds United. You gotta take a stand. It don't help to hide. If Leeds hurt my friends and they get hurt pride, you gotta be men. You can't let it slide. Rochdale beat you 2-0. And your fans didn't like it. You got beat 2-0. Rochdale did. League 2 proud.
Oh, wow. Wow. I'm saying this right now. If that doesn't get cut up and put on the YouTube channel, something's wrong. That's all I'm saying. Right? I'm advocating for it right now. We have to cut that up. That's going on the YouTube channel. I'm sorry. It's we the people for the people. We the people for the people.
All I can say is there was no script.
No script for that. No script for that whatsoever. But I tell you what, I feel like just for us, we need to play that again.
Well, when it comes crashing down and it hurts Leeds inside. I know Russ is thinking, if you hurt my team, then you hurt my pride.
No.
You know what, Russ Vernon, obviously being the resident Leeds United fan of the Pitch Talk family, what was your view on the match?
I actually got to watch this game, and to be honest,
were you thinking the same thing I was thinking when Hogan scored though? I just have to ask.
Hogan. You know what? Yeah. Well, Hogan scored. Hulk Hogan, Rochdale were coming. Hulk Hogan, we take what we want. Hulk Hogan, we coming. Hulk Hogan, Rochdale were coming for you, Leeds. I literally just thought of that as well. It's like, we coming for you. Oh my god. Sorry, Russ. Go on. Russ, have at it, man. What did you think of the match?
Yeah, actually called the game.
Did you say your prayers and take your vitamins? I'm just asking.
I just saw the game live, and to be honest with you, Rochdale.
You wish that you said your prayers and took your vitamins. I'm just saying. You wish that you were there with all those Hulkamaniacs.
Oh my god, Gezzie. Let me fetch up Swansea.
Oh dear. No,
Swansea. We're coming on to that one.
I'm enjoying this too much. I'm sorry.
Gezzie, next results yours before we hit the draw.
Oh, do I?
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
No, I don't. Man United 1, Swansea 2. Wayne Routledge opening and scoring after 12
Kiss
minutes.
the rings.
Javier Chicharito Hernandez getting an equaliser after 16 minutes. But Wilfred Boney, I mean... Anyway, he scored after 90 minutes, and that's the end of that. That's all I have to say about it. Thank you very much. Good night.
No. There's a lot more to be said about this. I mean, Wayne Routledge, how a ball got right through. That Routledge goal came right through the middle of Man United, which was hilarious. It's like the midfield cut out. The back line, the centre backs were nowhere to be seen, especially Rio. And by the way, Rio. By the way, Rio, I'm not gonna make a Simpsons reference because I'm not gonna make a Simpsons reference because that's too easy a joke. But the fact of the matter is, you're looking over the hill these days. You're looking over the hill, and we're not talking Teletubbies over the hills and far away.
Wow.
It's one of them ones over the hills.
You went to Teletubbies,
Yeah,
though.
yeah, you're damn right, because that's where Ferdinand needs to be going, Teletubby land, because it's
Oh,
one of
my
them ones.
goodness.
Over the hills and far away, you need to start bringing it so that you can play, because otherwise, stick to Twitter. That's all I can say.
Wow.
Why not?
But no, I mean, second disappointing result in the week, and
Looking like an HBK these days. Has been kid.
wow. Just go
How
ahead.
many
You
times
just-
has
just going off on-
Ferdinand played this season? And secondly, tell me he wasn't culpable for that Routledge goal.
I'm not saying
Where was it?
I'm not saying he wasn't. I'm saying dude got marked. But you know,
I've heard John Sitton say about Anton Ferdinand on the interview for Word of Sport on YouTube with Vernon Grant that Anton Ferdinand was the one who he wouldn't sense danger if you lit up his big toe with a Bunsen burner.
wow,
But Rio Ferdinand, I think that might be able to apply to after the Swansea match.
wow.
And then he limps off injured. It's tremendous.
So yeah, I mean, and then of course there's the red card. But you know what? Honestly, I'm just so disappointed right now that I'm not even gonna say nothing.
Yeah,
Russ-
Moyes was disappointed too.
Russ, I don't want to hear from you. You can't jump in. Do not pass goals. Do not collect £200. Just leave it alone. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Feels like you've landed on Mayfair recently, hasn't it, Gezzie? 2 defeats at Old Trafford on the bounce. It's not the fortress it once was, is it?
This guy. This guy.
What is up?
This guy.
All right, you know what?
Can we move on to the draw for the fourth
Yeah,
round?
we
I know
can.
Man United's not in it, Mr. Bailey, but let's just move on, please.
Yeah, let's move it. Let's move on to the draw.
Let's groove on.
Let's move on to the draw, because for Man United fans, it's a case of this. When you go crashing out and it hurts inside.
Oh man.
The FA Cup is one trophy you won't win. It is season when Man United went out. I laughed a lot. It was so fun when Bonnie scored. United are not gonna win the FA Cup this season because Swansea put them out. They didn't fight for their lives or fight for their rights.
Wow.
Da-da-da-da-da.
It's an extended version.
Moyes is always getting it wrong.
Wow.
And it's not Old Trafford as a fortress no longer. Deep inside of me, Moyes is hurting United's legacy.
Wow. Wow. You know what? I'm asking for somebody to fill me in because right about now, I had to ask one question. How in the blue hell did you make Real American about Leeds and Man United?
I don't know. I'm just that good.
And it was an extended version as well. It wasn't even like... Oh. All I can say to that is 2 words. Jesus face palm, man.
I got 2. Mate, I got 2 words for Man United. You are out. Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, Ron's hilarious. All we need is them nasty WWF ice cream bars today. That's quality.
Oh, wow.
Man, I was gonna say we need the Tuesday Night Titans.
Oh, stop
We need
it.
to choose. Maybe the Iron Sheik might give you a bit more bulk up front.
Listen, there's something that the Sheik is very, very famous for saying
Yeah, I
that I want to say right now. Okay?
I'll
So,
break your back and make you humble.
just understand. So
I'm getting Botchamania reminders.
I'm
right
not
here.
even saying anything more than that. Yeah.
Put you in the camel clutch, break your back and make you humble. Moyes is you know what? Moyes is putting Man United in the camel clutch and making every Man United fan humble this season.
You know, I wish there was something I could say to that.
Woo!
Oh, wow. I really wish there was something I could say to that, but there just isn't. Right about now, That's hurting my soul. Yo.
Has the magic of the FA Cup gone? Because I still think that the FA Cup is still important. And this story, Bournemouth supporters to raise funds for Burton fans to travel from the 6th of January 2014. Bournemouth supporters have raised almost £3,000 to help Burton fans travel to their rearranged FA Cup tie. On Saturday, the original game was called off just an hour before kickoff because of a waterlogged pitch. The late postponement meant around 200 Burton fans made a fruitless 300-mile round trip to the south coast. Bournemouth supporter and initiative organiser David Whitehead said, "It shows there's another side to football." Whitehead set up the fundraising page after recalling the generosity shown by Burton supporters when Cherries fans celebrated promotion from League 2 at Burton's Pirelli Stadium in 2010. They were so hospitable that there's been a special feeling between the clubs ever since. At the time of writing, pledges totaling £2,930 had been made, more than 3 times the original target of £800. Whitehead continued and said, "We've been overwhelmed by the response which has come from supporters of clubs all over the country and even some from abroad. We've now capped the fund at the cost of paying for 3 coaches and asked Bournemouth manager Eddie Howe to nominate a charity to receive the remaining funds." Bournemouth chairman Jeff Moyston said, "It's just the most incredible gesture, and I think it's probably unprecedented in football for supporters to be so generous." See, for me, the FA Cup, for stories like that, the FA Cup still means so much. It's second to the Champions League, of course. Well, third in the pecking order if you take the Premier League, Champions League, and then FA Cup. But it's still we were saying on Twitter to the Section 357 guys, including Ron Anderson, who's here, about the FA Cup. It's still got that prestige, it's still got that tradition, but it has been usurped by the Champions League on the pecking order because at the end of the day, there's more money to be made, and that's what football's about these days, sadly. Apart from stories like this, the Bournemouth and Burton story, that's a fantastic story and just reiterates that the FA Cup is still important. And you know what? That's quite an interesting one. There's an OWR, an obligatory wrestling reference within what Ron has just said. But Ron Anderson, let us know, let the people know, what did you say in the Skype chat about the FA Cup? And from stateside, what is the view of the FA Cup over in the United States?
Well, I think it's different for us in the state because even though the formatting obviously is different from what you all do over there in England, it's all about your league championship, or as sometimes we inappropriately call it, the world championship. But you look at someone like Paul Lambert, who basically said, "I would rather not be bothered with the FA Cup." He took a lot of flack for that.
Well, it was kind of misunderstood, misconstrued comments, really, because he said it was kind of a distraction.
Right, and I'm sure he's not the only manager, especially if you're a top half of the league premiership team. What does the FA Cup really do for you? Now I know it seems like, to me, like I said in the chat room, it seems like this is really like the people's title. Like this is really like, whether you're a Bournemouth, whether you're West Ham, well, who unfortunately isn't there anymore. It just seems like to me, this tournament, if most of the managers and the execs and the people that sit in the ivory towers, I don't know if you gave them the truth serum, if you don't have more people who feel like Lambert do and more intensely like that. This is just one more competition. This is one more thing that I have to use players for, and to me, it just seems to me that that's what it's devolved into. Now, you obviously get your great moments, like you talked about. I remember still, to me, like I talked to you about on Twitter a couple months ago, the best football match I've ever seen is still the 1999 FA Cup semi-final replay, Manchester United Arsenal, which to me is still easily the best match I've ever seen. But I don't know, with the economic concerns, and it's all about the Champions League, or if you're trying to stay up from relegation, or you're trying to get promoted, does the FA Cup still hold importance in a bigger picture scenario for a club as opposed to what it holds for the fans? I know a couple people want to jump in like Jamie, so I was just listening and kind of hear what you guys think.
I mean, there are a couple of interesting points in there, especially with the kind of, you got the upper tier teams who kind of field weaker squads in the FA Cup. I mean, we didn't. I mean, we did rest Suarez, but apart from that, it was a pretty strong Liverpool team. And especially after last year's embarrassment against Oldham, we didn't want that happening again. And we've underestimated the FA Cup before and been dumped out of it. Jimmy Traore in 04-05 was doing Cruyff turns into his own net. But I mean, against Barnsley as well, when us and Chelsea got knocked out. So it's okay. Look at Jamie, quick to bring up, mate. Don't make me start on your lot, because you lot got embarrassed in the League Cup last season by Bradford. So don't make me start. But anyway, it's a case of with the FA Cup. I think Ron's right in terms of saying it's the people's. Cup.
Oh, very much so.
Definitely,
very much so. I mean,
we still love it. I mean, we've had some brilliant moments on Wembley.
Oh yeah,
with FA Cup final, 2012.
That was all I was about to say.
With my lot, with Man City and Stoke in 2011, our first FA Cup final special. So it's one of them ones. I mean, the FA Cup holds special. Personally, it holds special memories for me. 2000-2001 with Michael Owen scoring them 2 goals against Arsenal. There've been so many other cup finals as well. All right, the one in 95-96 against United for all the wrong reasons, but that was the first FA Cup final I watched. I remember watching that. I was living in Oxford, and it's one of them. Was the FA Cup still has that special intangible for me? Yeah, I reckon. I don't devalue it as a competition.
No, I personally don't either. I think, it's one of those competitions. Look, it's a privilege to be in it, and if you're in it, you have to try and win it. It's as simple as that. Obviously, Manchester United won't be achieving that goal this season, so I have to go and get it out of the way before everybody decides to jump in with their 2 cents. I'm like, no, you can put it back in your piggy bank. I don't want it. Okay, but seriously though, I think there is a valid point in that. Until we get to the later rounds, I think for the top tier, the higher tier team, shall we say, it is a bit of a nuisance. It is a bit of an annoyance to have, for example, lots of games close together and having to play their key players so often. But I think for the lower tier teams, yeah, it's a big deal. It's a big deal, and we had to take it back down to the very simple basics of, listen, if you get drawn against a big team as a small team, think about the gate receipt money.
Oh yeah, it's helping so much.
And I'm talking about this same money from gate receipts gets filtered back into everything at those smaller clubs. Yeah. So, I think it is a bigger deal for the smaller teams, but I think even when the bigger teams are drawn against the smaller teams, they're happy for it because they know what it means. Yeah,
it's one of them ones. It's an opportunity. It's an opportunity for certain teams at the top of the pyramid to help teams lower down.
Yeah.
So
absolutely,
it's one I think is interesting. I mean, Tom Wood, you wanted to say something quickly to Gezzie Fizzle.
Yeah, so Southend have got a 100% record against Man United.
I love it, that was funny. Jamie Bailey, you wanted to jump in as well, didn't you?
No, I'm done.
Jamie, did you want to jump in? Oh, now he decides to go. Oh, but you know what? I personally love that particular FA Cup story with Burton and Bournemouth, because at the end of the day, some of these clubs can't afford to be hiring a load of coaches. Oddly enough, Orient Club for a fiver. Yeah. Obviously with Pitch Talk meets John Sitton coming out in March, it's a case of at one point they couldn't afford to pay their milk bill. They couldn't afford to pay for coaches. So those kind of FA Cup stories are so important and so helpful. And
a big part of the FA Cup magic, it has to be said. I mean, if it wasn't for the FA Cup, would that have happened?
Good point.
But for me, I think FA Cup magic is alive and well, and it's one of those traditions in English football that I think won't go away very easily. It's going to stay and fight for what's right, fight for its life. Yeah, I did it. Long may it continue. Just because, like I say, that it's the heartwarming stories of things like that, as well as the fact that you go and you see the young fans at these smaller clubs. When the camera pans over them, I'm like, look, there's moments like that you cherish for the rest of your life as a football fan. You can't take those away, and most of those happen to come in the FA Cup.